in terms of the attackers anyway.
Yeah.
So when we look at the minutes played last season, I think the level of importance.
These guys coming with all the stats.
I told man, listen, when Daniel gives me time to prepare, I'll put together a little something. When you give me time, I told you. This is how it works.
Are you mad?
Do you know what I'm saying? Are you mad? He's prepared.
Normally Josh is coming with, the dog ate my homework and all that.
I lie. I don't think you're gonna see the Goliath we have at the back. The Goliath. 2, 12 much
I'm massaging my time like an abri. Gatsby got me feeling great. I got a false 9 and an anchor. My wind is just there for the bait. Slick. I know Nasby, yo, Sanya, or Adebayo. If I score this goal in a glide, Oliver Twist, man, I want some more. I got 3 out of the top, that's full 3-3. My Spaniel boy racing clubs. When it comes to the new regime, if I shoot a shot like Haaland, I just want me a chocolate darling. Belgian thing I defend like a Marlin. Aim high, just shoot for the target. Me done talking.
Yes, people, we're back live and direct for another episode of Free Up Top. I got my favourite people, my favourite guy to my left, my favourite guy to my right. Wouldn't have anyone besides me, besides you two, so tell the people what they're saying, man. What are you man saying?
Good, bro. Can't complain, man.
Yeah, bless, man. Been
have a blessed Sunday.
Just see. Glad to be back with the man, then.
Did you go to church, yeah?
Huh? Hey, man, I drew me out like that.
Anywho,
Man, I drew me out like that.
Trust me.
It's calm, man. What?
I'll pray for you.
Even when 2 or 3 people are gathered, I know my verses. Come, man.
Shout out to 3-point collectors on that.
3-point collectors.
Well done, you though. Well done.
Yeah, man.
3-point collectors, of course. Obviously, I think we might as well get straight because there's so much I want to discuss today.
What, can we talk about Europe as well? Or?
Really? Sorry.
Couple young boys.
Couple young boys.
But
cool though.
No, 100%. It's been another great week of football. Obviously, it's great to have Adam back behind the cam.
Trust me.
Best made a nice little cameo, but I mean, we need our guy behind the cam.
We need our guy, man. Our CDM, man. Come on,
CDM, for sure. Obviously, give the young lady in the back the shout out as well.
Yeah.
You wanna elaborate or?
Big up your thing, innit?
But yeah,
you got the fans in here.
Just
good. Something a bit light-hearted to get us in the mood a bit after last week's arguments. We're all good. People might be saying we're beautiful, but we're all sweet.
We get passionate, when we're invested.
100%.
That's how you know it means a lot to us.
For sure, man. Josh, I'm coming to you first.
Yeah.
I want to know your top 5 centre-backs in the league, man. I think this season we focused a lot on the attacks of the top teams, Chelsea, Man City, United, Ronaldo, Lukaku, Grealish coming in, all of that, Liverpool, Salah, the usual lot. But a lot of credit needs to go to the defences, of course. So
what, my 1 to 5 or just my top 5, like in general?
1 to 5, yeah, 1 to 5.
5 to 1, innit?
5 to 1.
5 to 1.
Actually, no.
I'm gonna go 1 to 5.
Yeah, because I think
my brain can't process.
Yeah,
very quick.
Cool.
Innit?
I'm gonna go.
And then after.
I'm gonna go Van Dijk 1. I'm gonna go Ruben Diaz 2. I'm gonna go.
Alright.
I'm gonna go Maguire 3. I'm gonna go Thiago Silva 4 and Rudiger 5.
Interesting.
I got
After, we'll talk about after.
Yeah, I got Virgil van Dijk at 1. I got Varane at 2. Yeah. I've got Diaz at 3. I'll go Rudiger at 4. And I'm gonna go Maguire at 5.
Really?
No, sorry, switch those two. Maguire at 4. Then I'll go Rudiger at 5.
Oh man, fair enough. I've got Van Dijk at 1. I've got Varane at 2. I've got Ruben Diaz at 3. Rudiger 4. Thiago Silva 5. I think the thing that strikes out to me first of all is your list.
What about my list strikes out?
Varane is not in your top 5.
Nah, talking about Premier League, and he's only 3 games in. still yet to be seen, man. Going off the back of last season, I think that aside from probably Maguire, I'd like to say that every centre back in my list had a better season than Varane, man. I still rate him, still a very credible defender. You know what I mean, we've seen his CV, we've seen his resume, but had a poor summer in the Euros. Didn't have a great season last season either. So I think it's just too premature, man. But based on like his CV and what we know of him, of course he's a top 5 centre back in the league. But I'm just basing it off right now, innit? So
I think that's a good case. I think we had a good case.
But then, if you want to base it off of right now, why wouldn't Rudiger be higher in your list? Because I think right now Rudiger's playing better football than Ruben Dias.
I don't think so. I think when you're playing in the free, it's very easy to say that. Got a lot more protection in there. I think that you can't put Rudiger with a guy who just won PFA last season. That's mad to me personally. The only reason I put Van Dijk up there is because Van Dijk has won a PFA, and as well as that, he's universally recognised as the best centre back in the world, isn't it? So, do you know what I mean? It's tough to put him anywhere lower than one. Yeah, he's come back strong as well. Do you get what I'm saying? So for me, I'm not going to put Tony Rudiger over Diaz, man. Nah, no chance. Because I think you could put Diaz into that Chelsea free, and all of a sudden he's Chelsea's best defender.
Oh, 100%.
Do you know what I'm saying? So for me, I think Rudiger's playing well, but that combined with the fact he's playing the free is not enough of an argument for me to put him above Diaz.
I think you made a good point about Varane. Fair, but I still think when you look at the resume, the just his performance throughout his career, I still think he's one of the best in the league. But I think the top 3 is pretty much cemented in terms of. Well, obviously you disagreed, but I think generally,
Varane is in my top 3, innit? Yeah.
Van Dijk, Varane, Diaz. And then the next 2, I think, is what. That's why I was saying potentially 5-1. Because I think 4 and 5 is the debate.
Remind me who were your 4 and 5?
Maguire 4 and Rudiger 5. And I'm hypercritical of Maguire.
I personally think
but
that's what I was going to come to you. I personally think you can't have Maguire above Thiago Silva, Rudiger and Joel Matip as well. Especially considering that you're the most critical of Maguire.
Yeah, but that's it. Put that in context, innit? I've had my eyes on Maguire for years. Do you know what I mean? I wanted, when I saw him come to United, most expensive centre back in the history of football, I was thinking this guy's gonna be another Nemanja Vidic, Rio Ferdinand, a guy that we can put in that conversation, and he hasn't been that guy. Do you know what I mean? So obviously, when I'm critical of him, it's from a United fan perspective, not an analyst perspective. Do you know what I mean? Now that we're coming up with a list, I'm not coming as a United.
But do you think
fan. I still think he's one of the best centre backs in the league. Look at the way he performed in the Euros. Do you know what I mean? Last season he bought. I think we had the second best defence in the league last year, and he was playing alongside Lindelof, who is a bloody liability. Do you know what I mean? So
I still think better than Matip, personally.
But Matip can't stay fit, and Matip's got Van Dijk next to him.
That's not. And I think again, that's something I was actually going to discuss. I think when people say you just slap someone next to a good centre back, it makes you good.
No, but
I think that's context. A weak argument.
It's context.
Of course, it's context, and it does matter, of course. But at the end of the day, for me personally, added to the fact that I think Maguire has started a bit shaky. Varane, you can clearly see the difference between Varane and Maguire. I think there's a clear distinction. Despite Maguire being the captain of the football club, I think you can see who the better defender, who the better footballer is all around, innit? And I think for me as well, Matip coming off of a serious injury again as well. There was a period last year, the year after Liverpool won the Champions League, Matip was looking like the best defender. He was looking like the better defender than he had a period where he was looking so good. So
and their record with Matip in the team.
That argument of him being next to Van Dijk, although it is relevant to an extent, I think Matip has played well enough that he's now out of Van Dijk's shadow, where it's like he can be judged individually. And me personally, Maguire's got too many individual mistakes in him. I think when we're talking about the prototypical centre back as well, Rudiger, Thiago Silva, and Matip all have the edge on him, and even where there's similarities between Thiago Silva and Maguire in terms of pace, as we saw, if we use today as an example, where Son was asked to pin himself up against Thiago Silva because he was the slowest out of the three. Experience. When you know you're slow, you either give them a bit of a room, or you come in straight away and clamp on them. And I don't think Maguire has that yet. He does it at times,
and then
he's definitely within that. Like, it's not disrespectful to have Maguire in the top 5, but personally, I think you can't have him there, and I think in general he's not there.
As I said, when I'm critical of him, it's from a United fan's perspective. In terms of Matip, I rate Matip highly, and I agree that he's not attached to the hip of Van Dijk. Do you know what I mean? I think he's one of the few of them that can play well without Van Dijk. Do you know what I mean? Joe Gomez was looking a bit suspect without Van Dijk. Matip, I believe, can play well, but the issue with Matip is he can't stay fit.
I don't think fitness is to do with ability.
But we're talking about top 5 centre backs. If you don't get enough games in, I'm not going to put you on a list when we're talking about elite centre backs. Maguire's an Iron Man fan. Maguire don't miss games. He played every single game for us.
I don't think that's relevant
last season.
Yeah, I think Matip
it's for me though. It's for me.
But I get what you're saying. But I think Matip has played enough games where his body of work is enough to judge him against Maguire. But what do you think
in regards to
Matip and Maguire?
I think
where do you stand on in terms of the argument where his fitness is called into question with his ability? I'm not saying you're saying it.
I'm just saying it's one of several things where I have Maguire.
Actually, what are the several? What other things?
I just said
fitness.
He played next to Van Dijk.
Oh, okay.
Do you know what I mean? Fitness and those are the main two, I guess.
I think it's fair, man. I think you're right in a sense, Daniel, that Matip has played enough to where you can assess him outside of Van Dijk, innit? There's some players where it's hard to really assess them. I remember Varane in his earlier years, it was hard to assess him when he's playing next to Sergio Ramos, innit? But I think in this situation, I think Maguire's just a better centre back than Matip, in my personal opinion. Not to say that Matip isn't a good defender. I think Matip even has less mistakes in him in the game than Maguire does. But we're just looking at catalogue, man. Like Maguire had a very sturdy Euros. Do you know what I'm saying? And he hasn't played alongside someone as good as Van Dijk either. He's always been called to be the best centre back in the team, innit? Do you know what I'm saying? So for me, the responsibility that them two have is different for me, innit?
No, but do you know what? It's a fair enough argument, but I am going to challenge both of you on it because I think there's a bit of recency bias. I think Maguire did have a fantastic Euros, and that's fair. But Matip was playing well before that, and there was a period of time where Maguire was atrocious, like he was really, really bad, and Matip was playing well during that time as well. So then you have to factor that in on one hand, on one side of things, and also on the second side of things. I actually think, even though I said it's not disrespectful for you to have him at 4, to an extent I understood the reasoning, because I think the top 3 generally, when we're talking generally, I think they separate themselves.
Exactly.
And then 4 and 5 are calm. But for you to have Maguire number 3, I think is disrespectful.
Disrespectful to you?
Disrespectful to the other centre-backs in the league, because I don't think Maguire is a better centre-back than Thiago Silva.
Not necessarily, because you can argue that Maguire has had a better year than Thiago Silva and
I don't think so.
And Rudiger. In terms, if you look at the whole year, because when I talk about the whole year, I'm including the Lampard saga as well.
Thiago Silva was probably Lampard's best centre-back.
I've heard you on previous. I've heard you previously saying that Tomori was your best centre back in the Lampard era.
That was, and if you want to consider the context, that was considering all the other inexperienced centre backs alongside of him. Rudiger was sitting on the bench.
Cool, fair enough, innit? But really and truly, in that same period that Chelsea was struggling, United was sitting top of the table. And a large part of that was due to Harry Maguire.
I mean, United sat on top of the table for two weeks.
No, fair enough, but they were title contenders throughout the whole season until probably the last few weeks. Until they capitulated, didn't it? Do you get what I'm saying?
It's true though.
And a large part of that is Harry Maguire, man. So for me, you're saying his recency bias, but I've seen what this guy's done over the period of a year, innit? And in that same year, Rudiger has come to fruition as well. Yeah, he's been at Chelsea for a minute now, but in terms of his importance to the team, that's only really been shown in the past year. Would you agree?
Yeah,
exactly.
I think Maguire's importance has only been shown in the past year as well.
So even then, if we're gonna judge them both within the same year,
I can't agree.
That's true.
Maguire's been
Maguire's first year wasn't great.
Okay, cool.
But compare him to the second best centre back on our team, we'd be nothing.
Okay, cool, but even go with his premises here that we'll judge them both according to the last year. I would argue that Maguire's had a better year than Rudiger has.
I fully disagree. Rudiger's been Tuchel's best centre back. Remember, Tuchel came in January, so we're talking about a year. Mm-hmm. So Rudiger's been Tuchel's best centre back, most reliable, plays week in week out, of course. As
we're talking about 8 months.
What? Yeah, but we're talking about a year, bro. As in almost at the end of the year. So it's enough, and I'm comparing it to Maguire's year as well. Yeah. I think Maguire's. I'm saying Maguire's.
No, I agree that, well. but I agree that Rudiger's.
Remember, we also won Champions League, got to FA Cup final, and Rudiger's been the main, basically part of the spine of the team to do that and be capable of doing that. We've seen Maguire drop a couple bad performances. So, for example, in the clutch moments, I think Maguire had a poor game, like many others, but had a poor game in the Europa League final where I think he could have done better. For Gerard Moreno, where the goal actually happened. Yes, he didn't have much to do, but my point is, right now, when we're talking about defenders who you can call upon in the clutchest of moments, I'd rather have Rudiger in this situation than Maguire. That's my opinion.
But
I don't think that was the original argument, but you could add that as a factor.
Yeah,
fair enough.
That is a factor. That's what I'm saying.
Cool.
But when we bring in context, you also have to mention who's your 4 and 5, by the way. Rudiger and Thiago Silva.
Rudiger and Thiago Silva, yeah.
Both of them playing the 3. Do you know what I mean? And I'm not saying that to take away from what they're doing, because it's super impressive. Tuchel, I think Tuchel is the main piece of that defense, to be honest.
100%.
But what they've done is impressive. But it helps that you play in a 3, and yeah, man. Like,
And of all the
it's a heavier load when you're in the back
of all the players in the list, Harry Maguire's playing under the worst manager.
That's
for me.
very true. And I would say he's got the worst players around him.
So we're elevating him based off of the fact that
I'm not saying that,
He's
but
playing in the toughest situation.
one of the reasons
that does matter.
one of the reasons why we're talking about
it's about performance of player.
no, but cool. But one of the reasons why we're talking about Rudiger in this light is largely because of his manager. Mostly because of his manager. Because this isn't Rudiger's first season in the Prem. He's been here for a minute. Do you know what I'm saying? But the reason why we're now talking about him in this capacity is because of Tuchel.
Yeah, I agree.
Do you know what I'm saying? So that has a large part to do with it.
But then some players are able. I'm not in my personal opinion. You could bring in Pep, bring in Tuchel, bring in Ancelotti, bring in the best managers in the world. I don't think Maguire changes from what he is now. I think this is the
I
best
disagree. I don't think you can say that.
I disagree as well.
I don't think you can say that.
I don't think Maguire
I don't
gets
think you
better.
can say that.
I think this is the best.
Because I
manager.
remember in
I
Rudiger's
disagree.
earlier years in Chelsea, man was calling this guy a bug out. He always has a mistake in Rudiger.
Yeah.
Exactly, but look what Tuchel's done. So I don't think you can say that, man. I don't think you can say that.
Especially when we got a guy like Oli.
How many players have we seen that under one manager they're one thing and you bring in a new manager and a completely different player, bro? Like you literally can't say that in football, bro.
No, of course. Well, you can.
You can't.
I'm saying it now, but I'm saying that it's not a like set in stone thing.
Of course, not set in stone. But then it's not set in stone that a new manager will come in.
Joe Hart was fine. Joe Hart was one of the best keepers in the league when Pep Guardiola came in.
Yeah.
But he decided that he doesn't think that this guy is his guy. If a quality manager comes into the club, who's to say he doesn't take the armband off him and say he doesn't want to play him?
Okay, cool, but that's the reverse of what you're saying, though.
No, I know, but you're giving me one extreme of what you're saying, in that a big manager could come in and be great for Maguire.
Yeah.
I'm also giving you the other extreme where a big manager
No,
could come in and not play.
but my point is that it's all happen. You can't say that anyway. I wouldn't have made that
You can't
statement.
say that either.
Huh?
I mean,
No, but I wouldn't have posed that statement anyway. That's what I'm saying, because it can go either way. I wouldn't have posed
No, of
it,
course.
and there's no way to kind of judge how it will go.
But in life, if we say everything can go either way, then there's no point of having.
No, but because in football, there's just football's different, bro. The dynamics of football, and you know that as well, bro.
No, I get you.
You know what I'm saying?
Cool. Let's cool. Let's exclude. Let's just assume that we said, just to wrap it up, Van Dijk, Varane, and Ruben Diaz are the top 3, whatever order you want to have them in. This is a bit changing with the argument. So we have our top 5 set in stone and all of that. I'm not trying to veer away from that. If you could have one centre back other than those 3, like who would it be? So if there's one centre back you could call upon, rely upon, this is the guy you want next to your Van Dijk, next to your Varane, next to your VVD, I said it twice. Van Dijk, Diaz, Varane. Who would it be next to your? So who would be your 1B basically?
That's a good question. I'd probably go.
I'll go with Matip.
But he's not even in your top 5.
Yeah, and I can argue this.
You see what I mean?
this.
You see what I mean?
Okay, cool.
See
So
what
when I give him my list,
wait. Before you give your reason why, who would you go with?
Probably go. I don't want to be. Yeah, might be Matip.
I cannot. No, but hold on.
One game, you need someone to partner.
No, not one game. A season.
No, but even
but that's important context.
No.
Matip is
Let's
playing for a whole
let's
season.
take out the injuries. I'm just talking about the ability.
Okay, then
Matip.
Okay, cool, yeah.
But how
No, okay, cool. Cool, let me argue it.
Wait,
Let me argue.
You're fine because you didn't put Varane in your top 5.
Okay.
Based off of the fact that
It's recent, yeah.
why? How can you pick Matip for a season based on ability and he's not in your top 5?
No, but
But Varane-
you said disregard injuries, right?
Yeah, disregard the injuries.
Yeah, so that's it's a different argument.
So you think, because you're basically saying the injuries affect his ability.
No, it doesn't know that effect. But we're saying who's the top 5 centre backs. That's not just based on ability. That's based on your resume.
Injuries can't be the.
No, but fam, obviously, if you're playing more games, you have more opportunity to make mistakes. Maguire is literally playing every single game for us, so of course you're going to see the warts. Do you know what I mean? If Matt can't stay fit a whole season and he's playing next to Van Dijk when he's there, it's not hard. It's a much easier job. Do you know what I'm saying? And in the context that you put, again, you're playing next to an elite centre back. He's proven it when he's fit. that he's another quality centre back.
Fair enough.
And it's not as though, because I didn't have him at 5, doesn't mean that like he's not in that conversation. As you said, Maguire, Rudiger, Matip, you could put Thiago Silva in there. All those guys are in the same room.
I just think it's interesting, isn't it, that you both have Matip.
I think for me, my thing is that I've seen what Rudiger is like outside of Tuchel.
And in a 4, rather.
Do you know what I'm saying? So for me, like I've seen both sides, innit? So if we're taking Rudiger away from Tuchel, I'd rather have a guy in Matip that I've assessed him outside of Van Dijk, and I know
Thiago Silva?
I don't really. That's what I'm saying. Outside of Tuchel, I don't know if he could do what he's doing now, bro.
He's getting on, man. He's getting on.
He is getting on.
Alright, cool. We'll leave it there. No, but I think there should definitely be honourable mentions to like John Stones, Laporte.
I think Matip, you can definitely make an argument Matip is top 5. Do you know what I mean? Just because I put Rudiger 5.
For me, Matip wasn't even an honourable mention. It's so tough. Like I should have even said Matip / Thiago Silva because I actually think he's 5.
Matip is cold.
Yeah. But no, it's all's good. Quickly before we get into something else that I thought was very, very interesting that I took from the weekend, I just wanted your opinion on basically what happened today. So obviously when you're watching this will be yesterday. West Ham, Man United, very, very quickly. David Moyes made a decision, executive decision, to bring on Mark Noble. Just remember that Mark Noble was one of the best penalty takers in the Prem penalty takers we've seen. Scored his last 10, the normal club captain, all of that kind of stuff. So if there was a guy you want to take in a high pressing penalty to get your point, Mark Noble would be one of the guys that you call upon
for sure.
However, what side of the fence do you fall on? Because I'm seeing a lot of things on the TL where didn't he learn from the Euros? You can't bring on players to just take a penalty. They need to be warm. Like, what do you think about it? Did he make a mistake?
I think for me it was a mistake, and the reason why it was a mistake for me is because, fair enough, they've missed 4 of their 5 last penalties, yeah. But the moment that it was decided to be a penalty, Rice stepped up. He took the ball. He wanted to take the pen, yeah.
And that's your current captain.
For me, you have to learn from history. Yes, like even when we look at the Euros, for example, man didn't bring Rashford on to take the pen just because he needed fresh legs. It's because Rashford is a proven penalty taker. However, it's like in a high leverage situation, yeah, the guy could be a stone cold penalty taker, but 90 minutes has been played and my man hasn't touched the ball. Yeah. You're bringing him on cold. Do you get what I'm saying? Like he's not warm. He's not. You know what I'm saying? And even though Noble is a veteran player, and you would assume that he doesn't succumb as much to the pressures that a younger player would. Let someone who's been on a pitch take the penalty. Do you get what I'm saying? And as well as that, it's like it's harsh on the guy who's just been brought on because you can say, you've had one job. Your only job is to come and score the pen. It's an enormous amount of pressure in it. Do you get what I'm saying? So for me, just let a guy that's been on a pitch take it, man.
I hear both sides of the argument.
I do hear it because if it goes in, you'd be saying tactical genius.
You get what I'm saying?
But it didn't go.
And if you look at
as well as that, it wasn't even a good penalty.
Yeah, it wasn't.
If it was a good penalty and De Gea said, do you know what I'm saying? Then at least you can try and justify.
But then that's easy to say in hindsight, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
I would say I understand the decision because
same.
Do you know what I mean? Noble is a proven penalty taker, legend of the club, and it's like you're in the 90th minute. Do you know what I mean? There's going to be 30 seconds left, a minute left of the game.
Yeah.
It's not as though you're going to have to play another 15-20 minutes after the fact. So that it's like you're making us up for the penalty but not for the rest of the game. It's like that's the last kick of the game. So I do understand the decision. However, I wonder how Declan Rice is feeling right now.
Legit, bro.
Do you know what I mean? Because it's like, I know Noble's a legend, but he's the past. Do you know what I mean? I'm the future. Do you know what I mean? We're kicking on now. Do you know what I mean? It's a big spot penalty. Do you know what I mean? That's what I said. You can make both sides in it, but I'm just saying
you can make both
sides separate from the point. I think you should have let Declan Rice take it in it. He's your current captain. Just let him take
I'm so pro. Your best penalty taker takes the penalty. Obviously, you made the argument when we spoke about it earlier that the minute of the game shouldn't determine the circumstances or what you do. Like, it should just be the players on the pitch. But I do think the minute of the game, like the 90th minute, you want to put yourself in the best possible position to score from the spot. And I think...
But is that the best possible position? Bringing on a guy that...
Exactly, that's the argument.
There's two things. I think it is the best possible decision because obviously the negative is the guy's cold. Positive is club captain, he's your best penalty taker.
The positives do outweigh the benefits in that situation.
Do you know what I mean?
The positives outweigh the costs. The benefits are what it costs in this particular
Yeah.
situation.
And then on in terms of the other side of it, you're saying Declan Rice should take it, but the negative is that Declan Rice did miss. I believe it was his last penalty he missed. I remember him missing one against West Brom. I don't know if that was his most recent. He took 2 last year, scored 1, missed 1 in it. And it's like Declan Rice doesn't look like a penalty taker. Obviously, that doesn't mean anything, but I'm just saying, in terms of West Ham's ability to take penalties, Mark Noble was the guy. Last 10 penalties he scored. So if there was a guy you thought, 90th minute, 2-2 against Man City to win the league, Bruno's on the bench, are you bringing him on? And Ronaldo's not there.
He was there, Rashford.
No. So
Is Rashford on the pitch?
Rashford's not on the pitch. Obviously, it's harder because Man United have
So
more
who's on the
capable
pitch?
penalty takers. But let's say it's Martial,
Greenwood,
and Cavani.
Cavani's taking that pen, bro.
And you have Bruno on your bench
Cavani's taking
Nah, I
that pen.
can't lie. Bruno's coming on.
Bruno's coming on.
to win you the league.
Bruno's coming on.
I'm picking a player that's on the pitch, bro.
I hear it. But I think you can go both
Because
sides. But I would go Bruno.
Because
I mean, because
Bruno,
the resume
Bruno's
speaks
a
for
better
itself.
penalty taker, but I think, bruv,
By far.
there is pressure regardless, even taking a penalty.
100%.
Regardless.
And there's no guarantees.
So then you want your...
And then hold on, but then as well as that, you're taking off a player from the bench who, if this penalty didn't happen, wasn't touching the pitch probably. You're taking them off to then come and score. That's like double the pressure, bro. And regardless of how good you are as a penalty taker, you're going to feel the pressure, man.
But that's also why you hear it, because he's an old man, Mark Noble. Mark Noble's seen it all, been through
You
it
know what
all.
I'm saying? So it's like, but then, exactly. So then, in this, now that I've seen this, I'm even convinced now. I'm not letting a player come off the bench.
No, but that's with hindsight. Do you know what I mean? I'm saying going into the situation, you're looking at. I don't have any problem bringing on Mark Noble to take a pen.
Who kick ball like, you know, they got a brain on them, innit? Like they don't run around.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Static.
I think for me, the only one I'm letting come off the bench is like Ronaldo and Messi, bro. For me.
No, Harry Kane. Harry Kane's a bags.
Kane can fling. Kane can fling, bro. He can fling. Ronaldo and Messi are the only ones I'm allowing to come off the bench and take a pen. Because that man, I don't know what pressure is.
I bring Hazard off with my bench to take a penalty.
I'm not, no one apart from
Hazard's
Ronaldo
one
and
of the
Messi.
best penalty takers I've ever seen.
Ronaldo and Balotelli actually. Balotelli don't feel pressure either.
Balotelli.
He doesn't feel. When have you ever looked at Balotelli's face and seen that this guy's under pressure?
No, he's not. But he could also he'd scare the penalty and still look confident.
Nah, man. He's never scared a penalty.
And fam, man, them can do poker face, but that don't mean that you ain't nervous, fam.
Bro, Balotelli is not a nervous man.
Yeah. No, I'm not speaking about Balotelli. I'm just saying anybody's gonna feel the pressure. It's just about who can cope with it the best.
But just very quickly, like, he is disrespected though. He got the assist to Aguero. But Aguero
He is.
Balotelli
Balotelli has the greatest assist in Premier League history. There's nothing else you can tell me, bro.
Hey, where's he bagging now?
He's in Turkey.
Is it?
Yeah, my boy played against him like a couple weeks ago. So
I swear.
Yeah, bro.
My boy.
If you want him to be your boy,
I
take
never
it.
compete for his boys.
I don't want to compete with you.
Anyway,
That's your boy, innit?
anyway,
Take it, innit?
What should we speak? Actually, I've got something that we should speak about. Mane. Obviously, Mane's not had the best of back end of last season and the best of starts this year. I wouldn't say he's even started well. He's got 2 goals, but I wouldn't say he's having the best of seasons. But he eventually did get his 100th goal. I think his 100th Premier League goal, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if it's Liverpool. It's Premier League.
Premier League.
Oh, Mane as well?
Yeah.
I know Salah got his 100 Premier League.
They could have got in the same game.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's hard still.
So I think they're probably two of the best. They're one of the best duos I've seen in terms of goal scoring, prowess and whatnot. So my question to you lot is, are they the best goal scoring duo we've seen in the Premier?
Listen, yeah.
Go on, listen.
So this is what happens when Daniel gives us enough time to prepare.
Okay.
I can get to work here. Do you know what I mean? I can really get to work here. So what I've done is, I'm not going to throw out all the figures to you lot, but I've compiled a list.
I like
If you want, you could take it off me and put it on the.
You
on
using
the whatever.
big fancy
But,
bloody words.
I've got 6. No, so I've got 5 of the notoriously best duos in Premier League history.
Okay.
I've got Salah Mane. I've got Dwight York and Andy Cole.
Yep.
I've got Suarez and Sturridge, but I'm gonna put an asterisk there because I'll tell you why. I've got Drogba, Lampard, and I've got Ronaldo and Rooney.
I like that.
Yeah. The reason why I'm gonna put an asterisk next to Sturridge and Suarez is because what I've done is I've taken the 3 best goal scoring seasons of all the duos in it.
Okay.
So all of them, they're 3 best, no matter the year.
Yeah.
But Sturridge and Suarez only got 2 years in there, innit?
Yeah.
Cool. So I'll just I won't read out all the figures, but I'll just read out some of the biggest ones. So Salah and Mane combined 3 seasons, 123 goals. In that period, they got 1 title.
That's in the league.
This is just in league, just in the Premier League. 123 goals, just in the league.
Mad.
Dwight York and Andy Cole combined 92, 3 Premier League titles. In all 3 of these seasons, they won the Premier League. Suarez and Sturridge combined 85 goals, no titles. Drogba Lampard combined 100 goals, 2 titles in that period. 2 titles in those 3 campaigns. Ronaldo Rooney 106 goals between them, 3 titles in that period as well. So my conclusion is that Salah and Mane are the best goal scoring duo ever to grace the Prem.
And that's just based on the stats.
Yeah, because in all of their best seasons, they've scored the most goals, and they did win a title.
I think what's telling as well is that each one of the duos that you mentioned has a striker, or either 2 strikers.
Therefore, these men, but then it's harder because I do think they're forwards, innit? I don't think they're wingers.
They're forwards, but they ain't strikers.
I know, but I don't think they're wingers, especially.
They're not strikers.
Yeah.
Cool. So
what
point are you trying to make?
I'm just trying to make it elevates them just a bit because they're not strikers.
Oh no, 100%.
Yeah.
But I also think it helps that you play with an unselfish striker. Firmino at his best was giving you 15 assists. Do you know what I mean? And that helps a lot. So yeah, I think. Listen, I didn't do much research, but I'm going with Rooney Ronaldo.
Nah, man.
I'm going with Rooney Ronaldo. Rooney had to do a lot of the legwork. Ronaldo obviously had a little 40-goal season baked in there, a couple 30 pluses. Rooney's numbers were always quality. He's always like around 20, 15 to 20. But yeah, I think you can't always look at the numbers because I think Rooney was a better goal scorer than the numbers showed when he played with Ronaldo. Do you know what I mean? Because he had to do a lot of the dog work because everyone knew what Ronaldo was capable of. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I think big respect to Salah and Mane, but
we're not judging it off who works the rest. We're judging it off who
is the best goal scorer. No, I know, but I said he's a better goal scorer than the numbers would show.
But that doesn't mean anything to me.
But so we're just saying.
No,
so that means we didn't need to watch them play. We could just look at the numbers and say.
No. Best goal scorer. Obviously,
yeah,
the numbers are the biggest factor. Of course, what you're mentioning that matters. But we're trying to say that, for example, if Ronaldo and Messi as a duo, Ronaldo scored 50 goals and Messi scored 10 goals. Just because Messi scored 50 goals in other situations where he didn't have Ronaldo, it doesn't make them the best duo. It makes them the best duo names-wise.
Yeah, I hear that.
It doesn't make them the best duo.
that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear that. But yeah, I understand.
They are a close second though.
But Rooney's numbers aren't like slouchy numbers. Do you know what I mean? Rooney was still
personally. Like,
what are you trying to?
I personally don't even think they're second. Obviously, like, yeah. As a goal scoring duo, we're not just talking about them as a duo because when we talk about them as a duo,
you got Drogba and Lampard.
Yeah. When we talk about them as a duo, bro, then you can start feeding other things. Talk about the unselfishness of one partner to feed the other. Andy and Dwight actually are like
up there,
bro. Maybe not.
And do you know what's mad about them two? Yeah. So I picked out their top 3. Yeah, but I'll let you know now. In the 2000-2001 season, yeah, they scored 9 goals each in it to combine for 18. They combined for 29 appearances, and they still scored 92 goals across those 3 periods. Do you know how mad that is?
So they didn't even
get to really finish it because I think they were both finished that season. Something happened in it, but they only played 9.
Yeah, bro. Like
games each.
I do think this one is more of a preference.
You know what? Before you get into that, just another duo we should bring to the party. They had 2 seasons together, I believe it was Aguero and Tevez.
Yeah, no.
They had 2 bad boy seasons. People sleep on Man City Tevez.
I think Kane and Son are.
Kane and Son as well.
They're gonna be up there.
Yeah.
Like, I really like them as a duo.
Yeah, for sure.
But if you were to think about like the top 3, you're not gonna put these.
No, of course not top 3, but I do think it's important to mention them because we're talking about goal scoring duos. Of course, the goal scoring, where the goal scoring gets you to matters, but at the end of the day,
the numbers are stupid.
For me, and obviously I know you might say that it's a different argument, but for me, how I look at it is, and these men are all goal scorers, so it even makes it tougher.
It's just splitting hairs.
If I was to put a duo on the pitch to get me goals, who is the most surefire? It makes it tough to get me goals, so both of them getting goals at the same rate.
That's why I got Ronaldo and Rooney.
I don't think so though, because Rooney's goals decreased dramatically playing with Ronaldo.
Not dramatically,
I mean, there were 2 seasons.
The season after Ronaldo left, yeah.
11.
That's when he
Really went from 12 goals in the previous season to 26.
But that's also one of the few seasons where he actually played number 9. It wasn't only that Ronaldo had left. Let's not forget, Rooney only spent 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, but
as
then
the
when we
full-time
look at
number
this
9.
list, we have to look at it in terms of actuality, not potentiality.
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying hypothetically he would have done this, would have done that. I'm just saying it's not only the fact that Ronaldo left, is that his numbers elevated.
No, but what he's saying
It's because he played up top.
We know that Rooney's a bad boy striker, but we can only base off what we saw.
Exactly. And what I'm saying
Definitely,
is,
I agree with
you
that.
can't say, because he was working more hard, we should.
I'm not talking about that.
No. What I'm saying is, what you're saying isn't wrong. You're explaining the reason why Rooney didn't get the numbers he should have got. But I'm saying, in this situation,
you can only judge it based on what we have.
Now?
Yeah, I understand that.
For me personally, look, I mean, it's gonna be biased, but Drogba and Lampard are my guys, man.
Number 1 or
As in,
number 2?
I don't know.
No, what do you mean you don't know? You can't cop out.
This is something we might think about.
No, you gotta come with an answer.
But look, do you know what? Let me just a word on Drogba.
Because them men had the most seasons together, and I still struggle to pick out their best.
Yeah, but the fact that Drogba Lampard is the only duo there where it's a centre mid striker, and Lampard played most of his career as an 8.
Does that matter?
Come on, man. Let's not do that.
No, but does that matter?
Is it all on goals?
Basically, goal scoring duo.
So I don't think it matters.
No, it does. He's a centre mid.
Do you know why it doesn't matter then?
Why?
Because it doesn't matter what position he plays when he's
Exactly.
scoring goals.
It doesn't matter if you're a goalkeeper. If you're banging goals, you're a goalkeeper.
You could be a flipping right back, bro.
Because
if you're banging 15 a season, then you're scoring a goal.
Yeah, I mean,
it's along the same lines of the Darren thing. I think you have to also remember, I'm also explaining the reason why their standard should be elevated. I think your thing more explains why they're better as a duo. But I'm saying,
you're saying
it's higher for them to.
Yes. And I'm saying, as a goal scoring duo, the reason why I'm saying they should be elevated is because their duo contains one half of the duo is a centre mid with a striker. Do you get
But it was also on pens.
A large part of that comes down to how many goals do they create for each other.
I agree.
I
agree.
The two of them.
I agree.
If you look at it like that, you probably would put in there someone like Silva and Aguero as well. Right now, we haven't even mentioned them because you're not looking at them as goal scorers. Aguero obviously had his goals, but Silva maybe, like the other guys, didn't have as many numbers, but he created a lot for Aguero, innit?
I think
Bergkamp and Henry, you can make that same point.
Of course. I think in this situation, though, because we're talking about goal scoring duos, and we're talking about, because the conversation stems from Salah and Mane and the amount of goals that they can score. Salah and Mane share the golden boot, for crying out loud. Like, these two are gunmen, like serious gunmen. So, because I'm talking about goal scoring,
but it depends on what you value, innit? I think Adam made a great point, because if you're creating for your partner, it doesn't matter who's scoring the goals. It's the fact that as a duo, you're both getting goals.
Otherwise,
I don't think that changed. I think it's the same argument.
No, because I think. Are you looking at it in terms of just the numbers or the relationship? Because essentially, if you're looking at it as just the numbers, you're essentially just picking the top 2 goal scorers from each team and putting them together. And
of course, so that's why Of course, that's why it isn't solely based on the goal scoring numbers. Of course, I'm not saying that, but I think there are some intricate factors that kind of play their way in terms of the goal scoring, and I think he mentioned one that he thinks comes in for him. Do you know what I mean? And that's the relationship.
I think based on relationship, I think Drogba and Lampard probably last on my list then. In terms of
I don't think the relationship was great.
That's not true though, but between them, they had I don't know.
I don't think personally. I don't think they had a better relationship than Salah and Mane. Definitely not better than Dwight.
I disagree with that.
You disagree?
I don't think Salah and Mane have a great relationship.
Exactly. If we're talking about relationships, Salah and Mane are last.
You think so?
I think Drogba and Lampard. Not I think. I know Drogba and Lampard have a better relationship.
Ronaldo and Rooney are number 1 when it comes to that.
Better than Dwight York and Andy Cole?
Yeah. No, not better than Dwight York. I'm talking about the guys that we were just talking about, not Andy Cole.
Okay. Now, and I'm not saying relationship based on the fact that they're best friends, but if you look at the goal interchange and the system and who assisted and who
that
scored,
means you've forgotten. You're revising it because Lampard and Drogba created so much for each other, bro.
The stat last year that Kane and Son broke the record of
was Drogba and Lampard.
Oh, was it? Yeah?
Oh, okay, it was okay.
Yeah, and also on top of that, you mentioned the fact about unselfishness. Why do you think Drogba, who people criticise for not getting 20 goals
down seasons?
Bro, it's because Lampard was putting up double-digit numbers every year, and it's unselfishness.
And even giving him the pens as well.
Bro, giving it, bro, you let him have them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because traditionally the striker takes the pens.
So for me, if we're talking about relationship, bro, up there, man.
No, for sure.
But if you did start in your team, you want a duo, who you taking? Of all the guys.
Salah Mane, man.
No way.
Yeah.
I hear it though. I hear it.
I hear it. Salah's different.
Because essentially, you could just play 2 up top and just play a 10.
Hey, how many years did Hazard and Diego Costa have together as well?
Nah, it's like 2 seasons, and it wasn't even it was 2.5 seasons.
What about Torres and Gerrard?
Yeah, Torres
Good
and
one.
Gerrard. But I think Gerrard didn't put up the level of goal scoring numbers that you would want in a goal scoring duo, even though they had a good relationship. That's why I wanted to stay away, because then you could have Silva and Aguero, like you mentioned, Bergkamp and Henry. You could even say Crouch and Defoe. They were always paired together.
I think it adds more nuance to the conversation though, because then it's about perspective. Like, what do you value?
Yeah, definitely. So
I mean, to answer the question, Rooney and Ronaldo for me.
Rooney, Ronaldo.
I can't get away from.
Oh yeah, you said Salah Mane. Let's just make it clean sweep. Drogba. Nah, that's cool, man. Cool. Makes a lot of sense. I think the goal scoring duo argument is definitely something that is of interest to me. I do want to move on though to, let's say, people who aren't scoring, people who aren't necessarily playing well. And one thing I've noticed, there's a trend that I don't think the players who have come back from the Euros, England's team in particular, a lot of them haven't come back firing. So you look at Kyle Walker, I think he started slow. John Stones started slow. I think Maguire definitely started slow.
Luke Shaw started slow.
Luke Shaw started slow. Sterling started slow. Harry Kane still hasn't scored a goal this season. Saka, bro, he hasn't scored or assisted. Well, to be fair, they gave him on FPL. They gave him the assist for yesterday.
Sancho.
Yeah, they gave him the assist. I think he won.
No, but FPL don't go down as an official
so
stat.
If we do that, then Saka hasn't provided a goal or assist in his last 19 games.
Sancho hasn't got a start.
Started slow. Chilwell, a lot of issues.
John Stones ain't kicked the ball yet.
I would say the only English player who's playing at a top quality level right now is Declan Rice.
That's what I was just about to mention.
Yeah.
Jude Bellingham is playing at a top level.
Yeah. Jude Bellingham.
That is special.
Yeah, he played, scored it.
And got the assist.
Yeah.
You see,
that guy is different, fam. Different. Nah, he's coming United.
There you go. He's always just back now. He's coming.
Clear out, but that guy is bloody levels.
Yeah, so what do you think the issue is? Like, why is there this big Euros hangover? Do you think they're still feeling the effects?
I think it's literally because of the hangover, man. And what comes prior to a hangover? A high, no? And England were on a high, man. You got that one there. Come on, man. But yeah, man. I think they really did exhaust themselves in the Euros, man. For sure. And I think had they have won the Euros, it might be a different story, man. But yeah, it's taken a while to click for some of them, I guess. Sterling, I think, is just due to the fact that he's just in and out of the team. Yeah. Some games he's starting, some games he's not. But yeah, what do you guys think?
I agree, fam. They basically played the whole tournament. You got to the final leg. Do you get what I mean? So yeah, I think physically he's playing a factor. I also think just the caliber of player in the Prem is a really, really high standard right now. Do you get what I mean? So it's hard to be elite amongst the elite. Do you get what I mean? As much as those guys that we listed, they're special players. Ronaldo's in the league now. Do you know what I mean? Lukaku's about now. There's other guys that are, not the only cream of the crop, but do you know what I mean? The level has raised. So yeah, I think they'll find their form. But as Josh said, the fitness is huge. But then also just the general level of the league has gone up.
Something I did want to say though is that, and this isn't like disrespectful. I think when we use the word overrated, I think it comes across as disrespectful in the current media space, and I don't know why. Like, overrated simply means to the level or to the standard that people rate you, I just don't think you're there. Yeah. And that is all it means, literally. Of course.
Doesn't mean you're dead.
Yeah, it doesn't mean you're dead. It doesn't mean you're a bad player at all. And I think someone who is very, very overrated at this present moment in time is Bukayo Saka.
I 100% agree.
I love the guy. Bro, his story, everything, the way he broke into the England team, I think he deserved it as well. Especially, when you just need something fresh, something new. Like, he deserves all the plaudits he gets. However, we're judging him as a football player, and his performances aren't speaking of the level that people rate.
The way that he's regarded, yeah.
I mean, the stats are 1 goal and assist and 0 assists in the last 19 starts. I guess the question is then, do you think that is Arteta holding him back, or do you think he's just going through that period as a young guy where he just needs to kind of grow a bit?
Do you know what it is, yeah? Alright, cool. So when I looked at this question, I kind of had to break it down differently, and something just came to my mind right now. But when we look at the 5 kind of golden boys of English football, Saka, Foden, Greenwood, Mount, and Sancho, I would say, innit? In terms of the attackers, anyway.
Yeah.
So when we look at the minutes played last season, I think the level of importance.
This guy's coming with all the stats.
I told man, listen, when Daniel gives me time to prepare, I'll put together a little something. When you give me time, I told you. This is how I work. This is how I work.
Are you mad?
Do you know what I'm saying? Are you mad? He's prepared.
Normally, Josh is coming with, the dog ate my homework and all that.
Oh, But after Mount, Saka recorded the most minutes played last season, and if you look at their respective importance to their teams, I think that falls in line. Mount last season was very important to Chelsea. Saka is the most important player was the most important player last year for Arsenal.
Yeah.
Sancho second most important.
Yes, and Foden had a very good season, but in terms of importance, we don't need Foden to win.
For sure.
Do you get what I'm saying? Then of course
same with Greenwood.
Greenwood as well, exactly. So I think for me, when we kind of look at Saka's trajectory, and a few of these Arsenal players actually, in fact, as well, they're kind of been made to grow up too fast because of the situation Arsenal are in. They don't have the benefits of having experienced players around them. Arsenal that they should, because the Aubameyang and Lacazette should be there for Saka to, do you know what I'm saying? But they're not even performing. They're not even playing right now, realistically. So they're kind of having to shoulder the load on their own, innit? Yeah. So we could see by the time they're 25, Smith Rowe and Saka and these, man, they are very mature Premier League players. Case in point, Jack Grealish, when Aston Villa were first in the league, he was a skinny little rat.
Exactly.
They got relegated. He came back a man, a whole new player.
Yeah. One of the best players in the league.
So we could see the same trajectory for Saka. But for me, when you're talking about the numbers, Saka strikes me as a Hazard type of player more so than a Salah. I think for him, when you watch him, you can see his ability.
Yeah,
but he's not necessarily.
He's not a numbers guy.
And as well as that, what makes it even worse is the fact that Arsenal aren't in a great position anyway. So it's like, you can look good, but if you're not really producing results or producing numbers or whatever, then you're gonna be
looking good though.
No, I agree. But when I look at Saka, I don't necessarily see a 15 goals, 12 assists the season guy. I see a guy that plays very well and creates a lot of chances that may not necessarily go down in the book or whatever. That's how I see him in it. So I do agree it's overrated though. But I think give him time, and I'm interested to see what his development holds in it.
Overrated. I can agree. I don't. How do you think he's viewed though? Generally, do you think he's viewed in that? I think he's at the bottom of that tier that we just listed of England star.
I think he's viewed as clear of Hudson-Odoi, but yet they're very identical in terms of their stats. That's why I say overrated. Whereas I'm not saying that Hudson-Odoi should be elevated because he hasn't. One, he hasn't proven it, and he also hasn't had the minutes to prove it too, which is like being fair on both sides. However, if you were to ask the neutral, what do you think of Saka and what do you think of Hudson-Odoi, I think you'd see a huge disparity between the two.
Yeah, 100%. People say Saka's clear. Yeah, I think at the end of the day, fam, you're a product of who you're around. You're a product of your environment, product of your system. And Arsenal's a shithole right now. Do you get what I mean? I don't think you can ask a 19, 20-year-old to carry Arsenal Football Club. That's been my thing with Saka the whole time. Like, how can you ask this young kid to bloody carry a club of that size? Do you know what I mean? That's why I don't even think it's like, I'm not like holding him accountable, saying, "Raw, Salah, what are you doing? You're not like Saka, what are you doing? You're not showing up."
And it's even one thing when he's got the ability, but as well as if you ask him to hold it up, then he has to get the numbers in.
Do you know what I'm saying?
He has to get the numbers in.
Bear in mind the kind of I don't think he's ever gonna be a 20, 30 goals type of guy.
I think he's gonna be a Hazard type of player, bro. Like, he's not gonna be a stat padder. I'm not saying he's going to be as good as Hazard, but he's going to be that kind of
type of player. Even I think he's
creator.
A peak Ashley Young. And people, please don't sleep on peak Ashley Young. No, I'm just talking about the viewers. I'm not at you. I'm talking about the viewers.
Bro.
Peak Ashley Young was a bloody baller. And that's the kind of guy. That's the kind of guy I see Saka being. Yeah. You know what I mean? You don't have to be. There's different types of. You can bring different things to the party.
What you're saying is Saka can be the best player for Arsenal, or one of the best players for Arsenal, but then if he was to move to a bigger club, he probably moves back to fullback. And
I think he brings more value because he's a guy that plays better when he's surrounded by
Arsenal
better players.
Don't know what his best position is.
Long term though, fullback or winger, Saka for you.
It depends where he's at. But if he's on a great team, fullback, and I think he can be one of the best at the position.
I think I agree with that still, because I don't think he has the production of a winger.
I think he's
in today's
He's a guy that plays better with better players. That's why I think for England he came in and looked really good. Do you know what I mean? Because he brings something that a good team needs. He has no weaknesses, similar to Mason Mount.
I disagree that he has no weaknesses though. But carry on.
What do you think that's like weaknesses to his game?
I don't think he's as.
I'm not saying he's great at everything.
Okay, cool. In that case,
His
I hear you.
weakness is his decision making, which is for.
I was even gonna say that, yeah, but yeah,
You know what I mean?
it's harsh.
Compared to the rest of the guys at his age, I don't think that's a weak spot of his.
Cool. No, I'll leave it there, man. I'll leave it there. Interesting stuff. Cool.
But give them man a few years though. That Arsenal like core of the young bucks. I think you can see some good players in there in a few years, man, because they are literally being forced to grow up very fast, innit?
But that's the point that I'm making. If you're still losing games, it doesn't matter. You got to get some better players around.
But then you say that, but then like I said, Jack Grealish, they got relegated and he came back.
Yeah, but that's at Aston Villa. This is Arsenal Football Club.
I hear you. I hear you.
Just a quick little 30-second tangent on that. How would you compare Saka at Arsenal to like Sterling when he was coming through at Liverpool?
I see people making that comparison. We did the episode with the beautiful game. Remember, they said that they see him being.
Come because Liverpool were at a weak spot. He was obviously had Suarez and Sturridge.
But Sterling never went through
the
period that Saka's going through right now, though.
Where he struggled.
You don't think so?
You don't think so?
No, I'm sure he did.
Still. I do remember that still.
My thing is, Saka's not as dynamic. Defenders aren't looking at Saka, fearing him the way they are Raheem Sterling.
And I think also it's tough, man, because look who Sterling played with. I still think Sterling played with better players.
100%. Especially if we're talking about the front line.
Yeah,
100%.
So
Bamiyang's a shadow of the guy he once was.
That's how so heartbroken, fam.
I read where he was my staple in my fantasy team. Didn't come out.
I think the differences as well was that Saka doesn't have the blistering pace that Sterling does. Because when you look at Sterling, when you look at a player that is that young and is that quick, you just think, if you get him a manager who really develops technical ability, and he did with Sterling, exactly. You got him Pep, and now he's a prolific goal scorer.
Which makes I think Pep also played a key role.
Do you get what I'm saying? So, but Saka doesn't really have that lightning pace that Sterling does.
And he doesn't also have a manager that's going to take his game to the next level.
Yeah, fair enough. The managers always keep cool. We're gonna wrap up today's episode with a new segment. Highpress Media have obviously provided this segment, which will be Start, Bench, Sell. Obviously everyone knows Start, Bench, Sell. I don't really need to explain what that means. We'll get 3 players that will kind of have to decide whether we want to start on our team, whether we want to bench them, and whether we want to sell them. I think what we should do each week, because it's going to be a weekly thing now to end each episode, is we should base it off of the here and now. No potential stuff, no
game tomorrow.
Yeah, game tomorrow. How they've played maybe in their last 5 games as the body of work. Who would you start? Who would you bench? Who would you sell? Adam, do the honours. Who are the 3 players?
Alright, man. Couple of reasons on this one. So, shout out to Sam, who's one of the admins on the Highpress page, right? He's a great guy, put out a great post, but he's super biased towards Liverpool. He went to go watch Liverpool midweek, and I think Fabinho had an absolute stormer. All the Liverpool fans were saying it. Yeah. And he came out with a post the next day, and he phrased the caption in a way where it was like, Fabinho should easily exceed like Kante and all these guys.
Oh my days.
But anyway, I think that's another story. But for this week, we've had Basuma as well, also putting himself out there. So the 3 players are Fabinho, Basuma, Declan Rice.
Interesting. Look, quick word before you, man, do your thing. Fabinho, I think quality. We know what he's about. He does the business. Brought him in to anchor that midfield, and he's done that job. Basuma came out this week saying he's best DM in the league, and I like that confidence from him. And Declan Rice, look, I've warmed to him. I won't even lie to you. I think he's become a lot better.
100%. I mean,
he played really well today,
and he bagged the goal midweek.
Yeah, bagged the goal midweek. Like, he's looking like I disagree wholeheartedly with what Graham Souness said. Who said he thinks he has all the attributes of a defender. I think he's becoming a lot more comfortable on the ball in the DM position. Yeah, making himself available. I do think there are some aesthetically weak points about him where he's a bit like,
stiff.
Yeah, he's a bit weird.
Robotic, innit?
Yeah, man. Yeah. He does his thing. So if we could quickly do our thing, how do you want to do it? All start, or just do all?
No, just go through.
All 3. Do you want to?
Yeah, I'll do the honors. Listen, for me, number 1 is who I'm starting is not even a conversation. Fabinho is I don't know, that's where he's a bloody baller.
Yeah. You already swore on the show, bro.
What that's right.
He said Arsenal's a shithole.
Oh, shit. Shit is not a bloody swear word. I don't regard it as one. But yeah, for me, Fabinho, elite. I think he's one of the. I think he's more valuable than Mane for that. Yeah, genuinely, I think Van Dijk and Salah and Alisson is the only guys more important to that Liverpool team.
So, debate for another day.
Yeah, on that Liverpool team. But yeah, Fabinho starting and benching Declan Rice. As we said, I think he learned a lot at the Euros. Do you know what I mean? The people were saying, Calvin Phillips, did he perform better than him? I'm sure that he took that experience and he grew from it. Do you know what I mean? It's adding goals to his game. I guess got a goal earlier on in the season in a big game away from home, in Prague or whatever. You know what I mean? Tough place to go. And Basuma, rate Basuma highly, but you got some work to do. Yeah, Zagreb. Sorry, but yeah, Basuma got some work.
I'll go next, innit? Fam, more of the same. Keep it short, and sweet. I do think Fabinho. If we were saying Fernandinho and Kante, maybe it would be a different conversation, but I think Fabinho starts based on the guys that we got. I think there's no point wasting time on him. However, I would bench Basuma, even though I did say I've warmed to Rice as a player. A couple episodes back, I was talking about how I feel like Basuma has now outgrown this Brighton team. Brighton are currently fourth in the league.
They're doing their thing still. Shout out to Brighton, big shout.
Yeah, they're doing very, very well, and I think he's a huge part of that. Like he's a top quality baller. He's not your typical black CDM. Do you know what I mean? Like his aggression, his strength aren't the first things you think. Well, I think of anyway. I think he's teched up.
Yeah,
I think he's very, very teched up.
I think his dribbling's underrated as well.
So underrated. I think his passing range has improved a lot. Like you can see now, the long passes are going in. Plays nice and decisive passes, and I do honestly think I would say he's a better DM than Declan Rice. I honestly believe that. I think he makes
lone DM.
Yeah, I think he makes the step up easier than Declan Rice does, going to a bigger team and then obviously sell Declan Rice. But it is very tough between Basuma and Rice.
I've changed my mind twice, but I'm certain on what I'm going to say right now. I'm starting Basuma. I'm benching Fabinho. I'm selling Rice.
Okay.
You love Basuma, I like.
Cool, man. So originally...
Wait, hold on. This comes from a guy who said Ndidi over Basuma. Just saying.
Yeah, that's fine. Ndidi's not on his list, so we're not really talking about that. But for me, Basuma walks into quite a few Premier League clubs and kind of changes their title hopes, for me. I think he walks into City. For me, I put City going third. Could potentially win the league.
So does Fabinho not do that? Does Fabinho not do that?
Yeah, but I feel like Fabinho he's a sturdy CDM. But I think Basuma has more range to his game. I think personally. But
let's not forget, Fabinho was slotting in that centre back doing a job.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. We're talking about CDMs, right?
Yeah.
And I think for me, a large criticism that I have of my team anyway is the fact that we can't change our playing style a lot. Yeah. We're not as dynamic in changing our playing style depending on who we're playing against. Mm-hmm. Someone like Basuma is very dynamic for me. I think if you wanted to come into a game and protect the back four and do that job, you can do that. If you wanted to kind of get involved more in attacking play and in the build-up, you can do that. He's a very versatile player for me, I think, innit? I think talent-wise, he's better than Declan Rice. And based on range of ability, I think he's better than Fabinho. Not a better player, but I just think he has more to his game than a Fabinho, innit? Do you get what I'm saying?
But Fabinho's even got a strike on him as well.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does, but
I just think
just love on Basuma.
Yeah, I mean
he's so dynamic. Like you could play him the deepest man. I think you could probably play him 8, bro, because he's got feet. You can pass. Do you know what I'm saying? Like he's such an exciting prospect, man. For me, man. Cool. Declan Rice, we've seen a number of Declan Rice. If I'm being real, bro. We've seen a lot of him. I rate him, but we've seen a lot of him.
Yeah, no, I hear it.
Do you know what I mean?
It's your basis, it's your criteria. I just think it's interesting that, I mean, all the points that I mentioned as to why Man City would want Basuma over Ndidi seem to have just regurgitated them. So
we're not really talking about Man City and Ndidi. And as well as that, I just think that the closest player to a Kante mold is Basuma.
There's no closest player to Kante.
There is a player. There is. The closest player to a Kante mold is Basuma.
No, it's not.
And if I can't get Kante, I'm getting Basuma.
But Kante's got 2 hearts, fam. You ain't finding no.
You're not finding another Kante.
Hey, get me N'Golo, man.
It's been a great episode, man. Obviously, want to appreciate the lads, of course, once again. Make sure you do all of that great stuff and subscribe to the Highpress Media. Obviously on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. It's at the Highpress Media. You can't miss us. Can't miss these faces. 3 up top. You already know it's Dan the man with a plan. I got Darren the blunt clock cannon. I got JK the key ingredient.
Come on, man.
Aye, but
man.
let us know who you're starting, benching, cutting in the comments, and yeah, give us your thoughts on the show, man. It's been a good one.
We out.
Deuces.